Arch Manning has the bloodline, the hype, but he's not alone. One season, everything is on the line, and this is our top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2026 college football season.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I'm Damian Parson. That's Keith Sanchez, and today's episode is all about the quarterback position for the 2027 NFL Draft, heading into week 0 of the 2026 college football season. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about our top 3 quarterbacks, the guys that we believe will be battling for the QB1 spot. Those a little bit later on as well, we're going to talk about the potential first-round quarterbacks, those quarterbacks with the talent inside our top 10 to be first-round picks. But let's start off with kind of, Keith, number 10. We're going to go from 10 to 1, but talking about those kind of guys that be day 2, day 3 picks right now. Keith, I'm going to rattle off from 10 through 7. For you, at number 10, you have Ohio State's Julian Sayin. At number 9, you have Oklahoma State's Drew Mestemaker. At number 8, you have Nico Iamaleava from UCLA. And number 7, you have Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss. For me, Keith, I have Baylor's DJ Lagway. At number 9, I have CJ Carr from Notre Dame. At 8, I have Julian Sayin from Ohio State. And at number 7, I have Drew Mestemaker out of Oklahoma State. Keith, this is we talked about this class coming in. It's loaded with talent and with bodies. There's a lot of quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys that did, like Jaden Mayava may or may not have made either one of our lists. We don't know yet. But it's a lot of quarterbacks, Keith. But when you look at your from 10 through 7, let's talk about it. Julian Sayin, right? This is a guy that, to me, I look at him as a day 2 type of quarterback. Why isn't he, the guy that has all the high completion percentage and super accurate? Why isn't he a first-round pick for you?
Yeah, I thought that there were both process concerns when he was under pressure and him making accurate throws. And then I thought there was also a lack of what does the ceiling look like for him, right? As far as just having physical tools to back up him being warranted to be a top 5 quarterback, especially in this draft class, right? When we talk about, some of the best quarterbacks and which is supposed to be one of the better quarterback drafts that we've had in a while. I looked at that combination. It was just tough, right? And just having other guys in front of them. And even if they had the same process concerns, those other guys had more physical tools. And I look at like a Trinidad Chambliss, right? He has the mobility factor. He has the kind of the gamer-esque ability to him, the Nico Iamaleava, right? He has the strong, powerful arm, the Drew Mestemaker, right? Bigger body, has some physical tools in him. So you, with so many quarterbacks, DP, you had to start kind of like grouping guys together and then, kind of going through all of the different things. And then everybody who's watched it or listens to this show, they know that I'm not just a straight physical tools guy, right? Like that's not my thing. It's like, if you have the physical tools, then I'm gonna put you number 1. No, like I care tremendously about process. I just thought that this bucket of guys, the process was concerning, and then at times, and then Julian Sayin was at the bottom because he also lacked the physical tools. And then can I say this part too? DP, we came out of the draft, and the Ohio State Buckeyes, I believe they break the record, or they came really close to the record for most draft picks in a draft, DP. And so usually that turns out to a championship. So we can't say that he was devoid of talent, right? And listen, and I'm being completely fair, because remember when Jalen Milroe came out, I said what? I said, this is not the same wide receiver core that was at Alabama. For Ty Simpson, the conversation last year, I said what? This is not the same wide receiver core. Ohio State, that was the same wide receiver core of pass, right? That was the same players of pass. Ohio State was still operating at a very high level. That was a championship team. And when I think about some of the big games that he could have made plays, there wasn't a lack of plays. He looks more, in my opinion, DP, to be a trailer than the hitch of the truck at this point.
No, and I agree with you. I think, he's a very accurate quarterback. He sees the field pretty well. But I think to compound on that, Keith, it's a lot of that season, like, and I hate to put it this way. He's one of those guys where, like, in the NBA, you see a guy put up really big numbers in the regular season. Then, matter of fact, James Harden. James Harden cooks in the regular season. Then he gets to the playoffs. You're like, James, what is going on? Like, you know what I mean?
Get to play a bit basketball.
Like, he's just a different dude in the playoffs. It's like, okay, I don't care what you do in the regular season, right? And it's going to be for Julian Sayin. Last year, he sliced and diced some teams that just weren't on the level of Ohio State. And then when you met teams that were on the level, and that was at the end of the season, that was Indiana. You did not look good against Indiana. Against Miami, you threw a pick 6. You struggled against pressure. And the physical.
Was it Michigan, right? Michigan, he didn't.
He didn't look great against me. I mean, that was that snow game. They beat Michigan, but it was just like, was that you, or was it the fact that their quarterback was a true freshman in the biggest game of his life? You know what I mean? Like, you guys needed that win way more than Michigan did, because they have just beat you like the last 3, maybe 4 years. And Ryan Day's job for a lot of people was depending on it. So with Julian Sayin, I think he's a good quarterback. But like you said, he's probably more of a hitch or a trailer, somebody that, and that's the thing, we always talk about this, Keith, like, and to expound it, like, for those who may be new listening, what we talking about: hitch, trailers, trucks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, those quarterbacks that you say, you know what, it doesn't matter what's around you, you're going to put us in position to be successful. Lamar Jackson has not had, he's not had an elite wide receiver. I love Zay Flowers, but he's never had that. He didn't have Jamar Chase. He didn't have a prime Stephon Diggs. You know what I mean? He didn't have any of that, right? He's had Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, right? Josh Allen hasn't had Diggs in a couple seasons, and he won an MVP without him, if I'm not mistaken. Like, those trucks are guys that you can hitch your organization to, and they could take you the distance. Mahomes, people thought once he lost Tyreek Hill, this offense was going to go in the tank. It did not. As a matter of fact, they won the Super Bowl without Tyreek. You know what I mean? So, yes, you need a truck, a hitch. We kind of call that like the Brock Purdy's, man. The Brock Purdy's are the guys that can connect the talent of the team to their head coach, whichever one you want to call the truck. I don't know if you want to call it I would say Kyle Shanahan's the truck in San Fran, and the roster is the wagon at times, but or vice versa. But you get the right quarterback in the system, and they put it together. I think Julian Sayin could be a hitch for the right team, but then you get into those situations of what happens because that's what you talk about, drafting early. If I draft you early, can you go to a bad team when you don't have Jeremiah Smith and the cupboard is bare? Like, we talk about the Miami Dolphins. Would you be comfortable throwing to Julian Sayin? Heck, even though I think, what did I have? CJ Carr. I had CJ Carr at 9. Julian Sayin and CJ Carr. Would you be comfortable throwing those guys into the Miami Dolphins organization? No. They don't have the weapons.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And it's a infrastructure, and it's a putting him and when you ranking these quarterbacks, right, it's obviously is ranked based off of talent, what they're able to do, watching the film, things like that. But then also too, there's a forward projection, just a little bit of thinking about getting drafted, right? And if you're going to be able to carry a franchise, right? Because that's if you're a number 1 quarterback drafted, number 2 quarterback drafted, number 3 quarterback drafted, right? Sometimes the expectations is to carry the franchise. And he's like, okay, am I looking at franchise carrying quarterbacks, or quarterbacks that can put even more on their shoulders to where they're playing at a good level, to where the GM is now able to catch up the rest of the roster, right? And they're able to sustain the play. So we'll see how it goes, DP. What Julian Sayin, and I hope to see him play better, right? And in those high leverage moments, see him make plays that I say, okay, wow, right? And you know me, I have no problem with saying, going back, right? It's the same thing with Fernando Mendoza last year, right? It took me probably up to week 8 or 9 to say, you know what? I give up, DP.
Took you a while. Yep. Took you a minute. Either I want to, because we both have, you have Nico Iamaleava. We both have 2 toolsy, traitsy guys at the bottom, like inside that top 7 or that bottom 7. DJ Lagway, to me, Keith, like, I watched this film. I did
he'd be an interesting case study. And not to cut you off, but I think it's going to be very interesting, him versus LaNorris Sellers. And if DJ is able to play at a decent level, that big arm rocket quarterback, dual threat, 235-pound athletic quarterback, it's gonna be interesting if both of those guys play well. And even if they both play okay in the same bracket, it's going to come down to who does the team want, one versus the other.
No, that I didn't even, crazy. No, I didn't even think about the fact that you have like because they're both in this class available. Because this is the first time we really have that archetype, two of them of that archetype in the same draft class. And I really like what I saw from Lagway. I didn't put Nico. That's the one I didn't get a chance to watch. I'm actually gonna watch him going into the season. Just sit and just go through his film. So I'll put an asterisk beside Nico Iamaleava that he's right outside of the top 10. Because I did like what I saw from him, like watching him live. That's the one that slipped my mind to go and watch the film on. But like with DJ Lagway, physical tools are there. Now we got to see him take that step. Going to the Big 12 now. Yeah, Baylor, for a fact, they like to air the ball out in the Big 12. They don't play the same amount of defense as the SEC. So he might be able to go over there and light it up.
Yep, I agree with DP. Let's do this, man. We revealed quarterbacks 10 through 7, right? 10 through 7. Let's go ahead and knock out the middle of the list. We're going to talk about quarterbacks 6 through 4, potential first-round quarterbacks. Fringe first-round guys we could have this discussion about. Let's talk about that coming up next.
When workplace chaos hits and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Usually the biggest difference isn't someone doing more work. It's having somebody who knows exactly what needs to happen and helps everything run smoothly. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Quarterbacks 6 through 4, those potential first round QBs that if they play well, show out well, they can hear their names called. Keith, at number 6, you have Notre Dame CJ Carr. We just broke him down probably about a week or so ago on the pod. At number 5, you just talked about LaNorris Sellers out of South Carolina. At number 4, you have a guy that's actually not playing, but he will be in the class. That's Brendan Sorsby, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, whichever school you want to associate him with. At number 6 for me, I have LaNorris Sellers out of South Carolina. Keith, I got John Mateer at number 5 out of Oklahoma. And then at number 4, I have Trinidad Chambliss. Keith, let's talk. Let's talk LaNorris Sellers, man. And LaNorris Sellers, we kind of talked about with that battle between him and DJ Lagway. Sellers' arm strength, physical tools are out of this world. Like, he's just one of the more physically talented and gifted players that we've seen in the QB position. The main things for him, I think, that I want to see is anticipate and throws better. I want to see him get the ball out earlier, anticipate throwing lanes. South Carolina's got to protect him so he can really be able to play from the pocket the way you want to see. Because you know what he can do on the move. You know he can improvise. You know he can use his legs and be a dominant rushing threat. But from the pocket, when that back foot hits, give him time to survey. But I want to see him throw with anticipation, right? Like, not because typically, Keith, when you have quarterbacks with these type of tools, him and DJ Lagway, they feel that they can be late because they have the arm to power it. It's like, nope. You sometimes, you can. Like, we see Josh Allen do it all the time where there's some throws where it's like Mahomes. There's some throws. It's like that Steph Curry, like deep 3-point shot. Everybody can't take that. You know what I mean? It's a no, yes situation when you complete it. But it's just like, hey, we don't want to throw that late in the double coverage. I know you got the arm, dude, but don't do that too often or ever, really. With LaNorris, I just want to see him anticipate throws, man. I want to see him see it quicker, get the ball out quicker, and truly attack in the short intermediate a lot better and work the quick game better. I think if he's able to do that, Keith, with the arm talent, ability to push the ball down the field, and he's a weapon himself, this is a guy that can absolutely hear his name. Because, Keith, it only takes one team to look at the traits and physical ability. And if you just give them enough glimpses of what you can be, there's a coach that's going to tell the GM, let me get a hold of him. I can work with him.
Yeah, I for me, DP. So one, I think that is an area of improvement, what you talked about, right? I'm gonna go with this. Just don't glitch out. What I mean by that is don't turn a bad situation into a horrible situation, right? Like how many times on film did we see, oh man, okay, this player's going bad, he's probably gonna get sacked. And he said, you know what, instead of me getting sacked, I'm gonna run 20 yards backwards and then fumble the football. And then now the other team has it on their own 30 or on your 30, right? Like just like and what I mean by that, DP, the perfect example of that is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I don't think anybody ever put him as, and I think there's a lot of disrespect for what he's able to do, but he understands not making a bad situation worse, right? Like, hey, the whole conversation of was it live to fight another day, right? That's saying that's how Jalen Hurts plays quarterback. Okay, cool. This didn't work out how it's supposed to work out. Let's go to the next play, right? And try it again. But what I'm not going to do is hurt my football team. And I think LaNorris Sellers, if he adapts that mindset, he can be A-okay. He gets in trouble when he thinks every play has to be some element of hero ball, right? Like I have to, boom, this has to be the 80-yard touchdown right here. This has to be the 50-yard touchdown right here. Stop reading your own press clippings about, you know, what people saying that you could do or you could be potentially doing, because it just doesn't work like that. NFL football isn't played 80-yard bombs 10 times a game. It doesn't work like that, right? So I think if he gets out of it, if he understands, you know what, and part of that could be too just playing at South Carolina, right? Like you're trying to figure out how to win. Like how many times can we line up? And in the Julian Sayin situation, right? We can run the football. I have 4 first-round wide receivers and just get out of here with the win, and I'm A-okay, right? So he has to retrain his brain and his mindset. And I understand trying to win the football game, but also you have to understand that you're putting bad film out there potentially too. So that's how I look at it for LaNorris Sellers. And I had him at number 5, I believe. And because of it, and to me, it was definitely a balance of potential and, you know, the upside of what he does do, and then some of the negative plays. DP, I wanted Trinidad Chambliss real quick. Because we both have him in the middle of the pack. I've seen some people have him as a top 2, top 3 quarterback. I think when I really dove into the film, he was very risky with the football. And LaNorris was risky behind the line of the scrimmage, right? Trying to make plays, fumbles. Trinidad was just throwing that thing, right? He was letting it rip. So I want to see him become more disciplined, reading coverages and things like that. And so that's why he was more closer to 5 than 6, 7 than he was number 1, 2, or 3 for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And I think for me, Keith, because he's listed at 6 foot, like 210. And you know, the Russell Wilson comp is the one that comes to mind when you see the body type, the build, the mobility, and stuff like that. I want to see him this year for Trinidad. You know, he's a gamer. You talked about it. He's a gamer. He's got the mobility. He's got the athleticism, the arm talent to drive the ball, to push the ball, and he's got that creativity and that never say die attitude and mentality that you look for in a guy that's going to be a playmaker for you. Now in the NFL, you could like the play against Georgia where he drifted, like you talk about LaNorris, like he drifted back, spun out, and the only quarterback we've seen do things like that was Kyler. And it's like Kyler he's not able to do that snap after snap. Because eventually they send a nickel blitz, or they send on them corners who's faster than that defensive end, and they hawk you down in the backfield for a 15-yard loss, or they close the door on you and force you to throw the ball away or make a bad decision. I want to see him just work just manage the game in terms of, okay, it's 1st and 10, hit those middle of the field routes. Like, because that's the thing, that's the hill you have to climb over as a shorter quarterback at 6 foot. If he's a truly 6 foot, you know, we always say, Keith, give or take an inch or two, he might be 5'11", he might be 5'10". So it's like throwing the ball in the middle of the field is going to be big for him this year, because there are times I remember watching him last year on film. And you got like a crossing pattern from Daquan Wright, currently with the Cleveland Browns, who, because of this injunction thing with the courts, he could go back to college. It's a lot happening in college football right now, guys, to keep up with. And he could go back, he could go to LSU and pair back with Lane Kiffin. But there were times where I saw like he'd be running like a crossing route, and Trinidad would throw the ball, but the ball be behind him, like on the back hip, on the back shoulder. I'm like, dude, in the NFL, you get a guy's clock clean doing that, because he can't protect himself. But not only that, you also throwing passes late like that across the middle. There's linebackers who they watch your film, they see that you're not the most accurate or the most well timed in the middle of the field. They're gonna bait you into some interceptions, right? You know what I mean? That those top tier linebackers, you don't want to throw behind your receiver or tight end, and you got Fred Warner sitting at a spot in coverage, so he's gonna take that from you. He might take it for 6 because it's Fred Warner. Like I want to see him throw the ball in the middle of the field between the numbers effectively, because like you said, same thing. Like Russell Wilson, him making it work, living in the deep waters of the field a lot in his career. That's an anomaly. You can't do that every game. You're going to have to throw the ball short, 5-yard hitches, things like that. Just work on the timing of it all. But I think I read a report how he's gotten stronger and different things like that. He's added more muscle mass to his frame and everything. So he might be 215. He's at 6 foot or listed as. I'll put that because we don't know. But that's what I want to see from him. I want to see him get better throwing in the middle of the field, man, because that's really – if as a shorter quarterback, if you can't do that in the NFL, it's going to limit how effective you really are. We've seen Kyler struggle with that, where it's like, yeah, you could throw that outside fade, you could throw that down the field ball, but on 3rd and 5, if we run an OTB, can you get the ball past these trees at the line of scrimmage? And I want to see Trinidad do that this year. I mean, heck, week 3, you get LSU coming in, right? So that's going to be a game for him. So. Yeah, I think he could be a first rounder though. And Jordan, our boy Jordan Reed came on. Jordan said that he talked about how the scouts he talked to love the kid. Like the NFL likes Trinidad Chambliss, and I'm not mad that he went back, and I understand why he fought to go back. He wants another year to prove himself, right? Like and I get that. So I don't think he made a bad decision. Now what I'm looking for is, can you take that next step forward?
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. DP, let's do this, man. The big reveal, right? The quarterbacks 1, 2, and 3. We're discussing the top of our list, who we think are the supreme guys in this draft class. We'll discuss that coming up next.
Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place. Odoo is one platform to manage, grow, and scale your business. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working toward the same goal. That's true in sports, just like it is in business. I mean, look at the Seattle Seahawks. They won the NFL. They won the Super Bowl a couple months ago. How? Because everyone from quarterback to O-line, running backs, and defense worked together for the exact same goal, and that was to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. It's all because of you, our everydayers. All right, Keith, it's time to reveal our top 3 quarterbacks. On Keith's list, he has Oregon's Dante Moore at number 3. At number 2, Keith has new Miami quarterback Darian Mensah at number 2. And at number 1, I believe it was number 1 for you last year too, Arch Manning out of Texas. So Arch repeats as the summertime QB1 for Keith. At number 3, we have the same QBs, guys, but just different order. Number 3, I have Dante Moore out of Oregon at 3. I have Arch Manning out of Texas at 2. And I'm going with Darian Mensah at number 1, Keith. Let's talk about Dante Moore and work our way up real quick. A lot of I think, and I can't remember if we both had the same comp for him. My comp for him is CJ Stroud. He's just a natural, easy, fluid passer of the football. Guy that can drop back, sling it, accurate, good ball placement, arm talent is fine. But like Stroud, not consistently using his athleticism in the pocket. And I want to see him get tougher and play tougher in the pocket. I'll keep going back to Mendoza. Mendoza sat there behind, and I'll say this: Indiana's offensive line was far less talented than Oregon's. What Dante Moore is standing behind, and they were a far less talented team than Oregon. You know what I mean? From a receiver standpoint, running back, everything, they had better talent at Oregon. And to watch Dante Moore to watch him kind of not shrink him in those moments, but when you start getting pressure, he starts hearing footsteps, you start getting hands on him, his play declined. And I want to see him just just stand 10 toes and deliver the ball. Yes, you're going to take some hits sometimes. You get in the not just a Big Ten championship. What if you make the run to the Natty and it's the final drive of the game? The game's on the line, and they get a free runner, but you got a post that's coming wide open. Are you going to drill that post? Or are you going to, alligator arm? You got to be able to make those throws, even with the defense bearing down on you. I want to see him do that this year because I believe, I can't remember if they played Michigan and Ohio State, but I believe they played one of the two. Like, you're going to be in some games early during the season that you don't have to wait to the Big Ten championship game to face some of the best in the Big Ten. So I want to see him just get better, stand in the pocket, showcasing. But not only that, Keith, if you navigate it better, like move, shuffle, slide, reset, throw, use your mobility to, if they do got a free runner, make that guy miss, evade him, reset, and throw. He's got to have an answer for pressure.
Yeah, DP, they play both of them back-to-back weeks. They play Ohio State and Michigan in back-to-back weeks. And I agree with you, DP. And listen, for Dante Moore, he finished top 3 for me. Pending the Brendan Sorsby thing, I might have put Brendan Sorsby ahead of him. And the reason is what you said. And it was the reason why I always felt kind of a little herky-jerky about CJ Stroud. It was because remember, it was the same. It was in those big time games, and it was like, CJ, I just make that play. And you're seeing some of that kind of translate to the NFL a little bit for CJ, right? Like in the big time moments, like, just relax and make the correct football play. And sometimes that's just taking it down, tucking it with your legs, and picking up the 9 yards, right? Just in that situation, you see quarterbacks sometimes overthink it. But let's go to this. Number 1 versus number 2. And I had Arch Manning as my number one quarterback. And part of the expectation is for him to take a huge leap forward. And then Darian Mensah too. I think this is gonna be a battle all the way down to the end. Because I think obviously if Arch Manning puts it all together, I mean the sky is the roof, the roof is the ceiling.
Sky is the limit.
Yeah, sky. There we go. Sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. But I think Darian Mensah, I see him potentially like not needing a curve, and I think he steps in immediately week 1 and be like, yo, let's rock and roll, right? Like I did. I left Tulane, went to Duke. Now I'm leaving Duke, going to Miami. Let's rock and roll. And I think his play style and his confidence of what he's going to take is going to jump off the charts immediately. So I think it's going to be a battle 1 and 2. I think it's going to be process oriented. It's going to come down to the mobility factor people are going to play into. But I think we're potentially looking at was that the 2024 draft, right? With the Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and we may be looking at more of a Caleb Williams versus Drake May type of situation, right? Like which one of these guys is going to go number 1, number 2, and then obviously nobody's expecting even Jaden Daniels to jump in there, but Jaden Daniels jumped in there too and wound up being the number 2 pick. But I'm excited about this. I'm excited about both guys, and I like both guys a lot.
No, 100%. Now, I think, because I believe that Arch had like I think it was foot surgery this off season, like maybe in January after the season was fully over and everything, after the bowl game. And because we talked about it during the season, he threw sidearm like almost primarily last year. And that might have been due to the foot injury, right? Like where he didn't feel comfortable planting and stepping and stuff like that. So if he's back to his natural, like kind of over the top, like just condensed, refined throwing motion that we saw in 2024, and he's more accurate, more consistent. The main thing for him is just like, cause I keep saying it, like the start of the season was rocky for him, but once he got to the middle of the season, he started to settle in.
He learned different ways to win the game, right? Was it that Texas A&M game where he just had all of the rushing yards and the rushing attempt? I think he became more versatile in his approach, and then also the University of Texas, the Texas Longhorns are kind of like the Dallas Cowboys of college football, meaning that we always expect them to be really good, right? And it's not to the end of the season and you actually analyze their roster to be like, oh, they have some holes here, holes there, holes there. I believe this team, right? And they were aggressive and going and get Cam Coleman. They were aggressive. I think what they went in, added another running back, maybe two more running backs.
Yeah, Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers. Yep.
Yeah, and so I think that identified that they say, hey, offensively, we need to get more explosive. We're not good enough offensively. And so I'm expecting those additions to help a lot when it comes to the natural explosiveness of this overall offense.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited to see for him, is just see him healthy. And then with these new additions and added weapons, like, yeah, he can go out there and really, especially if that defense plays well. Now, Trevor Gooseby, their left tackle, ended up having like a bone bruise, so we'll see if he's capable or back healthy. Even I think they host Ohio State this year, so Ohio State goes to Texas, I think week 2, if I'm not mistaken. So I think either 2 or 3, week 2 or 3. But either way, I think they have enough. From what I've read, they have enough talent at the tackle spot and depth to be able to deal without losing if they have to lose Trevor Gooseby for the first couple of weeks, so until he's fully healthy. But yeah, I have Arch at 2 because I just want to see him now take that back stretch of 2025 and start that way. Give me a full season because now you know what to expect as a first year. As you were a first year starter last year, you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know how teams are going to game plan for you. You figured that out. Like, you figured that out throughout the season, and we saw you settle into. And honestly, I truly believe, Keith, he wasn't trying to be, because the Manning name, people is going to attach that to Peyton and how Eli won. He is not Peyton and Eli. This dude is 6'4", 220, almost 225, and he's a legit athlete. He is not Peyton and Eli. He can win with his legs, and he embraced, like you said, he found more ways to win. And I felt like he didn't. I feel like he was trying to. I felt like the pressure was too much for him early in the season. And I feel like all the pressure of him being the man, and then, he's Peyton's nephew. He's not going to play like Peyton.
Yeah, and DP, we have to understand too, because his biggest showcase and showing was that Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And now I think if we rewind it and look at it, we say, oh, wait. That was a really good defense, DP. You had Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Caden McDonald, Lorenzo Styles. You had Igbenuson. That was an NFL defense. And I mean, show me the weapons that Texas had to offset that, right? Did they have the offensive weapons to offset that? So I'm going to be interested, and we'll see. But I think that's what excites me about this upcoming season. We get to watch these guys battle it up.
No, 100%. Now I'll touch on Mensah. I've watching this young man go from Tulane to Duke, be a program elevator himself, leading Duke to the ACC championship game, where the only people didn't know. The only reason why people know Cooper Barkate right now is because he's playing for Miami with Darian Mensah. He transferred from Duke. If he was still at Duke, people really wouldn't. The most of the draft community would know who he is. Mensah plays with immense poise. He's accurate. He's got the arm talent. I know Jordan Reed said this. Scouts want to see him drive the ball more. They feel like he lofts passes a little bit too much, puts too much air on some of his throws. They want to see him just step in and drive the ball a little bit more. And I'm like, hey, that's a fine thing to nitpick. I'm good with that, right? But similar to, because I think if I remember correctly, I can't remember if I said it on the pod when we broke him, because that was 2 months ago. Watching him, it's like I'm watching Clemson Deshaun Watson all over again. That's what I feel like when I watch him. I feel like this guy has star potential. He can be a truck in the league. The leadership is there. The mentality is there. And a guy that isn't the spotlight isn't too big for him. And when you have the baseline things of throwing in anticipation, throwing with accuracy, throwing with ball placement, and if you say, hey, Mensah, just drive it a little bit more. Just put a little bit more velocity, a little bit more torque in the torso and in the hips. I'm fine with that critique. I'm absolutely fine with that. And now he's going from Tulane, because going from Tulane to Duke, you assume, hey, the weapons at Duke are probably better than what he had at Tulane. Now you go from Tulane and Duke to Miami. Oh yeah, listen. You're not eating McDonald's anymore, brother. You know what I mean? This is Ruth's Chris. This is the creme de la creme of what you will get at receiver and weaponry and run game and everything. I'm excited for Darian Mensah, because now this is a young man that can absolutely solidify himself. Right? He can solidify himself now. I got the weapons. I got the spotlight. This is in Miami. They were with Cam Moore. They were on the cusp of making the CFP. They needed one of those losses were when they're in the CFP, right? I think ACC championship game, whatever. They make it to the national championship game with Carson back. Now you feel like you've upgraded the game at quarterback.
Yep, I agree, DP. I agree 100% with DP. That wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.